Golf lovers of the world, we are back. It is myself, Golf Lover UK, and Pro Golf Critic. Now, the eagle-eyed viewers will notice that Pro Golf Critic is not wearing his Four Aces gear. He's disgusted with them. He was sent a t-shirt by Smash, and he's wearing the Smash t-shirt. Tell us why you're wearing it, because who is the world's biggest fan of Smash?
Yeah, no, people should remember around the Ryder Cup last year, it's a very famous picture that Brooks kept sent out with these exact shirts, I might add. Xander Schauffele, our most recent major champion, shout out to him. #1 Smash fan. It's a great photo with him and Brooks, and Max Homa, Sam Burns. Oh, who am I leaving out? I think that's, Ricky Fowler too. They all had this shirt on, and yeah, so showing a little bit of support to Smash. Look, no one says that you can't support more than one LIV team. We've obviously supported, like you have, you're a supporter of Crushers and Majestics. Make no mistake, the Aces are still my team. However, I also feel like this is going to motivate them a little bit more because look, they're still in 10th after Houston. They need a little extra push. Maybe DJ needs a little extra push in the US Open too. Like we just gotta like shake things up a little bit. So that's part of the reason why I'm wearing the shirt. However, I did want to say shout out Smash GC. Appreciate the love, appreciate the support. So go Brooks in the US Open as well.
Well, let's do a little bit on the US Open straight up. Let's talk about it now. The elephant in the room for me is that there are some amazing players, aren't there? Now, we all know OWGR. We all know about what was done. And obviously, the US Open isn't an invite event in the same way the PGA Championship is. Look, they can create pathways, and they talk about creating pathways. I think to not have a few of the players, aren't there, like Joaquim Nima not being there, that's just ridiculous. And Taylor Gooch not being there, you can argue either way, but I personally think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The other one I think that's just so bizarre they're not there, because we know why, because it's the OWGR is what's being used.
Yeah.
And people can say, oh, you should go and qualify if you want to be there. Well, that's easy to say, but why should a player qualify if they know they should be there on right anyway? And the one for me that should be there on right, maybe as much as Joaquim and Gooch, is P. Reed.
Absolutely.
P. Reed is one of only 3 players to make every cut in a major since the first major of 2022. So that's all of 2022, all of 2023, PGA Championship, and the Masters. That's 10 majors you made a cut in. One of only 3 players in the world, the other 2 being Hideki and Tyrrell Hatton. Yeah. So I think when you look at it, you go, actually, there's 3 players, and he's not going to be there to keep that streak going. And I think that's a really bizarre thing. And I know that's... And this is indicated the OWGR. You don't get enough points from the OWGR to maintain a top 60. You're making all the cuts, top 15 in the Masters. It's odd, and I think the US Open is obviously a fantastic event, but this is actually bizarrely, with the Masters, I was a bit more okay with it because of how the Masters is run and the size of field. But for the US Open to not have 3 of the best players in the world in it, I think it actually, for the first time, and I didn't say it about the PGA, I didn't say it about the Masters, and go back and check. I never said it detracted from the events. I understood why they did it, but this is the first time, in my opinion, it does actually, Jay, massively detract from the event for me.
100%. I completely agree. The funny story, I was talking to my brother, who's actually a professional bettor, and he was saying, wait, Patrick Reed's not in his field? Like, I bet him all the time in my matchups, my one-on-one matchups, and to make the cut, because he always makes the cut and he always beats his matchup. So look, we all know Patrick Reed is a top 50 player. He did have a little bit of a slow start to his season, no question about it. However, he played well at the Masters. He played well in Houston, finished tied 3rd. Like, I mean, Patrick Reed has been trending all year.
Made the cut at the PGA.
Yeah, made the cut.
A lot of good players. A lot of other good players didn't make it.
That's look, the whole thing is, like, I totally understand the USGA is going to be moving to a different model for next year. I mean, that's all but confirmed at this point. We'll have to see how it looks exactly, but they lean into the OWGR this year, and look, there's players that like shouldn't be there. I got into a big spat on Twitter with my guy Ben on. Shout out to Benny. No, just saying, I didn't say that like he didn't deserve to be there, Ben on. Like, I just think that the fans specifically, luckily, through pure luck, Adam Scott got in, Sergio got in. So those are two really big names that like people want to see. So I was happy to see those guys get in, but Waco not being there, Patrick Reed not being there, Abe Answer, like Abe Answer's a top 10 in the standings at LIV. Taylor Gooch is top 10. Louis is 5th. So look, there were 13 players that got in. Obviously, John Rahm had to WD, so it's only 12 now. But you know, it's just the whole OWGR thing is a mess, and we need to like stop relying on it or outlive some pathway to get points or separate pathways to get into the majors. Like they just have to figure something out because I hate talking about this stuff. Like I just want the field to be as good as it can be, and like all the players that deserve to be there should be there. So, and it's like, look, there's actually a story out there exactly why Patrick Reed didn't qualify. He signed up for the qualifying, but because he played so well in the PGA, he would have had to like hightail it out of the PGA on basically no rest and try to qualify the next day. Like when you've just finished 4 days at a major and then you have to go and play a 36-hole qualifier, like that's just totally unfair to him. And it was also too late for him to change sites too. So, and he didn't know that he was going to get invited to the PGA until, I mean, not that long before. So his whole schedule got thrown out of whack. The whole
about
thing
7
is
8 days before we found out. So he made his plan for qualifying. But anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's terrible.
OWGR doesn't work because, and we've said it many times, and I understand when people say, well, if you don't meet the criteria, now, okay, I ignore that because of the way the criteria works. But the OWGR, according to its Articles Association on Companies House, go and look it up, is to rank the best players in the world in professional golf. And it doesn't do that anymore. So it fails its own mission statement.
Pointless. The whole thing is pointless. Like every time it's, go ahead.
Let's move on now to what I call the LIV critique curse. Now, there's been players like Billy Horschel who are quite critical, and their game suffered. Same maybe for JT in some ways. Same for Ricky in some ways. There are people who are critical, hummed and hard, and they struggled a little bit. Has anyone struggled more since opening their mouth than Wyndham Clark? Let me read you Wyndham Clark's results. So he made a comment about Bryson and how would he be able to cope because he only plays a 54-hole event. Well, out the last 5 events, Wyndham Clark's only played more than 36 holes twice. At the Masters, he missed the cut. RBC, he came 3rd. Wells Fargo, he made the cut nearly on the number, ended up finishing 47th.
Yep.
PGA Championship missed the cut, and Memorial missed the cut, having jettisoned with a 77-day one. So,
he's also still 4th in the OWGR, by the way.
Like all you need to know.
He's the 4th best player in the world. Get out of here.
All I want to know is, did Wyndham Clark shoot himself in the foot with a comment and put extra pressure on him, or is he a downhill skier? Because let's be fair to him. I know it was a 54-hole event in Pebble Beach when he won it, but he won at Pebble Beach in the 80. Excuse me, by the way, guys, I've got hay fever and I'm coughing like a 20-a-day smoker. AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, he came first. Then he came 41st at the Phoenix Open. Then he missed the cut of the Genesis. Then he came second at the Arnold Palmer, tied second in the Players. Then he came 31st at the Houston. Then it was went cut 3rd, 47th cut. Did he shoot himself in the foot and put extra pressure on himself? Or is it just Wyndham Clark is a fantastic downhill skier, as I call it? Once he gets going, he gets going. Yeah. And if he doesn't get going, he doesn't get going. He could just be one of those players. And the LIV curse, as I joke about it, maybe isn't a curse. It's just that's the way he plays. He's either top 3, top 5, or he's missing cuts.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both. There definitely is a little bit of Rory McIlroy to Wyndham Clark's game. There's no question about it. Look, Rory McIlroy is one of the best downhill runners of all time. Like when he gets going, like he can shoot low. He's going to win. He can win a major by 4, 6, 8 shots. Like that's just how it is. Like he hasn't done it in a while, obviously, but certainly capable. I think the other thing is, people. I harp on this all the time about how how mental golf is. Like, it's such a fine line. And if there's something going on in your mental game that is not strong, like you're feeling some sort of a conflict, like that's what I think a lot of these guys, like a lot of these big name players have not been playing well the last couple of years while this, a conflict in the golf world has been going on. Like JT is one, Jordan Spieth is another. Like there's a lot of these guys. Billy Horschel's another, who's another guy that I got into it on Twitter with really recently. Like a lot of these guys are conflicted, and you and I both know, like Wyndham Clark was, a huge target for LIV at the beginning of the season. Like we're not going to rehash the story about it, but it's like, yeah,
he got greedy. People say, we turn LIV down. He didn't turn LIV down. He asked for more money.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so it's like when you have that happen, and then like immediately after that whole thing transpires, you don't go to LIV, and then you slag off LIV like literally the next week. Like there is some internal conflict there, and like he hasn't really played well since he made those comments. So I think that's definitely something to be on the lookout for. I also think, look, he's not really playing all well. He is kind of a feast or famine player. Like he's always kind of been that way anyway. But I think his famine now is like really, really bad. And even when he is feasting a little bit, like it's not really resulting in a win. Like Pebble was his last win, and it was 54 holes. So, and he didn't really have to feel the sort of Sunday pressure, because that's something that I look at in a lot of these guys. Like, how do they actually handle things when things aren't going their way?
Yeah, especially with Scottie knocking around. Like Scottie's knocking around, and like happened at the Arnold Palmer, and like happened at the Players. Like he finished second both times to Scottie, but
yep,
you got to feel that Scottie's great. We know he is. He's the best player in the world at the minute. That's not an argument. He is the best player in the world, playing the best golf. Scottie's making golf look phenomenally easy. Like he's just in that zone. And like I think I saw. I'll pull it up. Let me just pull up Scottie's recent results.
Yeah.
They're just they're Tiger-esque. They are Tiger-esque. I don't care what anyone says. This is Vijay Singh. Is it Vijay Singh 2004? Was Vijay Singh? My brain's gone blank. Vijay Singh 2004. Tiger career stuff. It's just.
Or David Duval 98. Like, I mean, look, he's having a great run. The whole thing is, like, we all know, or not everybody, but I know, like, this is not going to last forever. Like, there is going to be a cliff at some point. I don't know when it's going to happen.
Try this. Try this. Anyone who wants to doubt that Scottie Scheffler is the best player, I know he's world number one in the OWGR. We know OWGR means nothing. But try this for Scottie in 2024. 5th, 17th, 6th, 3rd, 10th. First in the Arnold Palmer, first at Players, second at Houston, first at the Masters, first at RBC, 8th at the Players, and second at Charles Schwab, first at Memorial. Man alive, what a year. This is all-time top 3 ever year stuff. It is absolutely superb. And as you say, what Scottie's done, though, is he on a Sunday, he never, ever falters. It's just so he is a Sunday player, and that's maybe the Wyndham thing that he hasn't got. And I know that's been labelled on Rory and a few others in the past. Xander previously, the joke about Xander is Xander's great for 54, and then how's he respond to Sunday? Scottie, he could be called Scottie Sunday Scheffler, and I don't mean Sunday Red. Well, but like Scottie loves the Sunday. Like he doubles down, he shows his ability, and he shows his mettle.
Well, I think that's part of it. The other part is like, let's just be honest. Like he hasn't really been pushed, particularly in majors, like the Masters at Act 9 on Sunday. Like I wanted somebody that had some leaderboard gravity to like challenge him, like Bryson, that would like make him think twice about it. Unfortunately, everybody that approached him faltered, and he wound up winning by 4 shots. Like the Memorial this past weekend, like. Similar stuff, like he shoots over par in the final round. It's not like he's like lighting it up. And he still winds up winning because the guys close to him kind of falter too. Adam Hadwin was his closest competitor and totally just didn't have a great final round. So, and we can't gloss over the fact that like that is a very alpha tendency, like getting close to the lead, sniffing that like lead, and like making that extra push. like there's just not that many guys left on the PGA Tour that like really have that. So I expect him to have a great season. Like I was kind of expecting him to sort of fall off at this point, performance wise a little bit. Hasn't happened yet. Part of it is because he is on a heater. There's no question about it. But part of it is, look, the PGA Tour has been depleted. There's no question about it. And it's just not quite the same. Like he doesn't have the same alphas breathing down his neck. A lot of those guys have gone to LIV. So I'm very intrigued to see how the U.S. Open goes, how he gets on. I think the course sets up pretty well for him. Pinehurst, it does have this little bit of randomness in it that like I kind of think we're gonna have somebody that wins that like is not necessarily one of the favorites. Like I just can see this course doing that. So we'll have to see. But yeah, we'll have to see.
I'm really looking. I'm so conflicted. I'm really looking forward to watching it because Pinehurst is a course that is in my top 10 bucket list course to play. I want to go play it.
Oh, it's a great course.
Yeah.
I played it a bunch. It's great.
And I really want to play it. But yeah, I feel the event's missing some players, and it's a shame. We sometimes do picks, and I think when we do picks, it's quite funny. But all I want of you is give me one player in the field that you think is going to do really well that no one else is talking about.
It's a good question. Actually, you know what's funny? It's actually one player that like literally nobody's talking about. And
if you pick mine, I'm going to be so annoyed. And I'm talking someone who's over sort of 30, 40 to 1.
Yeah, I think he probably qualifies. I don't have the odds in front of me. He kind of sprung this on me, but there's one name that like no one's talking about. It's Dustin Johnson. Dustin Johnson finished top 5 at Pinehurst 10 years ago. His game's been like it's been kind of lying in the weeds like the last like few months. I did see a little bit of his practice at Pinehurst. There's like something that I think that he's fixed. Just there was a little bit of something
160 to 1. 160 to 1.
160 to 1, really? Oh my God. Like DJ, like would it shock me if DJ goes out and wins at Pinehurst? Absolutely not. Like, I think that he's totally flying under the radar. I haven't heard a single person say anything about him, even though he's basically from that general area. Like he knows this grass really well. Like plays US. He's obviously a US Open champion. Like even though he is getting a little bit older, like he's still fully capable of, winning a championship like this. Like he's always like one of the key things of Pinehurst is like, you're going to have to be pin high with a lot of your shots, a lot of your iron shots. And like, I mean, honestly, DJ's one of those guys that like, that's one of his strengths. It's like Scottie Scheffler, Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson. That's like what they do. They're always pin high. It was something Tiger did in the majors all the time when he was at his height. Like you just have your distances dialed. I think DJ's one of those guys. And I think he could easily win.
So the person I've got, and it's virtually the same odds, is Keegan Bradley. I just feel that Keegan Bradley is that crafty player around the greens, putts really well, isn't the biggest hitter in the world, but you don't need to be around Pinehurst. So Keegan Bradley's fairly straight, not short, good around the greens, and good putter. If Keegan Bradley ended up winning the US Open, I wouldn't be surprised. That was my big outsider. So if you want to go and place some bets on there, please do. Jay isn't a fan of betting, despite his brother being a professional gambler. So Jay won't endorse it, but I will. If you want to go and place a bet on Keegan Bradley and Dustin Johnson, do place that bet. If it doesn't come in, it's not our fault. You shouldn't listen to us. But if it does come in, please feel free to send us some money.
It's a great point. And John Rahm certainly would have been on that list too, even though he's one of the favorites. Like he's one of those guys. He's a great second shot player. So it's too bad.
I loved. There was a leak yesterday that there's been a framework agreement.
A draft
framework agreement has been signed. We don't know if that's true. We don't know what's being said, but we've been told it is true. We've not had that off a single one of our sources, so we'll say that now. You and I have not been told by any of our sources that we normally use that that's happened.
That's changed as of this morning. No, it definitely seems like something's probably going to be announced after the U.S. Open. Sounds like Tuesday is when there's going to be some updates. Look, most of this is coming from one side, like it always is. Whenever there's like any sort of PR stuff going out, it's always from one side. I'll let you guess what side that comes from, and we have sources on that side as well. So, look, I think this is. It goes back to what I said a while ago. This is going to be like a multi-step process. This is not going to be, one day we wake up and everything is good. It's like there is going to be like a phase 1 here, a phase 2, and maybe even a phase 3 and 4. Like we'll have to see. But like we were talking about this after the Masters, like we thought that something was coming, some sort of coming together. And looks like this is probably going to be step 1, phase 1 in that. And we'll have to see what the details look like next week. But I promise you guys, like, nothing's going to happen here without it being what Yasser and the PIF want. Like that much has been made abundantly clear to both of us. Like that's, we'll have to see how everything plays out. But I think that's something that like people need to keep in the back of their mind. Whenever there's any information that comes out here next week, just take it with a grain of salt, and just know there's more going on behind the scenes, and there's more to come.
Well, that being said, we could comment on it and we've given our opinions, but I think there's nothing for us to comment on. We've made it clear what we think is going to happen. We made it clear where we think it's going to go. Let's see what comes out. But I think there'll be a lot. I think there could be a lot of early celebrations from people, with actually a few more tweaks going to the LIV preference side as things get whittled down.
Yes, agreed.
I want to say something, and I mean this. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. And people that are taking a piss out of Rory for changing his mind on his divorce, I think it's the wrong thing to say. I'm really happy. There's a young child involved. There's a relationship involved. And Rory and his wife, Erica, have now found some common ground and want to reconcile and be together. That's great. And as I said before, it's kind of no one else's business. It's just because he's Rory and he's one of the biggest stars in sport, any sport. And that's why it makes the news. If they've managed to find a way to get past whatever problems they had, and cancel their divorce and be together because they love each other and they want to be, and because it's good for their daughter, that's amazing. So congratulations to them. I hope that all works itself out. That's great news. And the people online who took victory laps before are notably quiet now, and some of the people who took victory laps are enjoying saying about him flip-flopping. I think it's bizarre. The people that say that, I'd love to say, do me a favor, can you tell us all the details of your life and your relationship? We can examine all of those in the public eye. Because I bet you they wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
They wouldn't want to, would they?
Yeah, the whole Rory thing, I tried to kind of stay out of it. The only thing that I did want to comment on, and I started doing it like a week or two ago, like I just felt like some of these things were getting totally out of control, just with like some of the rumors about Rory with whoever. We're not going to get into the details, but it's like I felt like there's these things are never, they're always complicated. There's always more than meets the eye. I think that, I mean, I've heard stuff about what's going on behind the scenes, but it's like it's very sort of, this is private stuff. Like this is not something that I'd like even feel great commenting on. Like it doesn't impact me. It doesn't impact golf really. Like it's just more because he's a golfer and this is part of his personal life. Like everybody knows that I'm huge on transparency when it comes to professional golf and all that, but that does not extend to people's personal lives. Like it's just not that big of a deal. Like even when, Tiger was going through his stuff, 15 years ago, like, I mean, that was his thing. Like I don't think it was the right thing, but at the same time, that's like his choice. And it doesn't make me more or less of a fan of his. Like it just doesn't, because it doesn't impact his life on the course. It's his personal life. So, I hope that it works out for them. Time's gonna sort of tell like exactly how this is gonna work. But yeah, I hope for Poppy's sake, I really do hope that they sort it out.
I mean, 1 second, I was on mute. There we are. The beauty of trying to do 10 things once. Let's move on. Have a quick look at LIV Houston. Now, I'm going to say something about LIV Houston.
Yep.
it didn't feel. Did I enjoy it? Yes. Did I enjoy it? Of course I did. I love the golf. I love the teams. Great to the Cliques do well. Majestic's day one had a fantastic day.
Shout out to the Cliques for sure.
Sad to see like Poltz had a great day one and day two. Didn't have a good day three. There was a lot of that at Houston. A lot of people had 2 good days. And then he came out a great first day. Shocker on the second. There was a lot of that knocking around.
Yep.
But what I want to look at and just talk about very quickly is it was lovely to see Adrian Meronk, having had such a bad run of form recently, especially in the majors, have a great second place finish and play really well over 3 days.
Yep.
But before we go on to the players, I just want to say it was the first time in a live event I didn't feel it had its normal pizzazz. Now, I don't know if that was course related. I don't know what it was. I didn't really feel it like I felt all the other live events.
Huh. Yeah, I think it's course related. Look, it's a very spread out course.
Do you think that's it?
I think it's definitely
feel.
Yeah. Look, people have been. This is one of the things that really grinds my gears about people on Twitter specifically and sort of social media when they do these juxtapositions of live crowds and PGA Tour crowds. It's like, look, it's never going to be the same logistically because I've seen pictures of the memorial. Yes, it's like, look, every group is going to finish on 18. So slowly but surely on Sunday, by the time the round is over, literally every single fan that's still on the property is on 18. Like, so it's going to look like there's a million people out there. I totally get it. And they have grandstands and all that stuff. Live events, look, I know for a fact the Birdie Shack and Club 54, that was completely sold out over the weekend. The problem is that doesn't really show that well on TV because, like, you can look up there and it's like, oh, yeah, there's a few people, like, except you can't really get a feel for, like, how many people are actually in there having a good time. And it's something the broadcast probably needs to sort of lean into at some point. Because you can't really get a feel for that just by watching a regular normal broadcast. Like, you're not going to get a vibe for that at all. I know for a fact there were a lot of people on site there, but it's totally spread out. Like, if you have Phil finishing on 7 and you have Brooks finishing on 13 and Bryson finishing on 15 and the leaders are finishing on 18, guess what? Like, a lot of the fans are going to be watching those guys on those other holes and they're not going to all be on 18. So it's going to look completely different. It's a completely different model. I want people to stop doing this. Like, it's just so stupid to me. Every time I see people posting these side-by-side pictures of like a PGA Tour event and a live event, it drives me nuts because it's like it's pure propaganda without any context behind it. And yes, there were some logistical things at Houston that made it look more spread out than like other events. So it is what it is. It was a good event. I know people that were there. They had a great time. There were a lot of people. There were more people there than go to some of the Houston Opens that were there, like, and this is from people that have been to a million Houston Opens, so they would know. So it is what it is. You know, I had to apologize to the state of Texas and Houston because I felt like it's so saturated with PGA Tour events. LIV didn't need to go to Texas. The Texas fans really embraced it. The local media really embraced it too. So I think it was a really successful event, even though it didn't necessarily show that way on TV.
Do you think that the fact that we've had the Houston Open before maybe detracted a bit from my pizzazz and feeling of it? A bit like the way the way that Mayakoba doesn't quite grab me. I like seeing some of the new courses and what I would call live courses. Now, Hong Kong Golf Club is slightly different. It's an absolute timeless classic that's hosted Asian Tour events and some DP tour events. I just wonder maybe that was part of it. But there, look,
that may be part of it.
We can't unpick my brain. We can't unpick my. Who would want to try and unpick my brain? Christ.
But look, no, it's a fair point though. Like, I mean, that's part of it. Like, I get what LIV is trying to do, and long term, I want to see them go to new courses. Like, I don't want them to recycle old PGA Tour courses. Like, even though like Golf Club of Houston was like a slightly above average PGA Tour course, Mayakoba is probably average to above average course, but I feel like there's just so many other courses that are out there, and hopefully that's going to be the best thing that comes of this agreement between PIF and the PGA Tour. Like, all this anti-competitive stuff is going to go out the window. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll open up some more venues to live. And I want to see them go more global, even being an American that loves having events here. Like, honestly, the time that Houston came on for me was not that convenient. Like, I would much prefer if they're in another part of the world, because I prefer watching golf early morning, late night. Like, I like to keep my middle of the day pretty clear. It totally works for me when they're in other parts of the world and it comes on either early in the morning or sort of evening for me. So, for what it's worth.
Scoring on day 3 was 37 shots higher than scoring on day 1.
That's interesting.
The course got harder. Some big numbers got posted. Only a few people posted with like super low rounds. Great to see Wade Ormsby came in, obviously needed for the injury for Louis. Wade Ormsby shot even over 2 days, which a lot of players would have been very happy with, even over those last 2 days. Ben Campbell came in for John Rahm, and Ben Campbell shot a 5 under on day 3, which was a superb score, and seeing that's really what really helped Legion 13 get into that 7th spot, because without that 5 under from Ben, they would have, let's have a quick look, take 5 off of that, they would have finished 11th.
Yeah.
So Ben Campbell really stepped up just to get Legion 13 a couple of points to make sure they didn't get too far adrift.
For sure. Also, shout out to Smash, who had the lowest round on Sunday. Taylor Gooch 66. Brooks Koepka 665. Look, it's not a coincidence when the course gets tougher, guys like Brooks just start to elevate towards the top of the leaderboard, which is why you can't count them out for Pinehurst as well. But, continue. Sorry.
And Sergio continuing his fantastic form of the top 5. There's someone else who want to talk about their form and how well they've been playing. And great to see Anaban and get a top 6. Fantastic finish from Anaban there. Howe also getting tied top 6. Now, why is that important? Well, actually, we know the top 24 guaranteed to keep their place on LIV. Graham McDowell now is in the top 24 on 35.75 points, and 25th place is 28.3. So, and that doesn't mean it's a lock. But Graham McDowell is slowly but surely showing that actually he's still, as we know, a world-class golfer. 3 top 10 finishes this year. A couple of not great, so 43 and a 46. But Graham McDowell is really showing that he's still that player. And obviously we interviewed him. Go back and have a listen to the podcast. It's not on YouTube. It is on the podcast. Go back and have a listen to that interview with GMAC, where he talked about finding form again. He's been physically to get himself into better shape. But Graham McDowell is probably on top 10 or 2 top 15 places of locking up his place for next year.
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic achievement.
For sure.
Based on where he was at the beginning of the year.
Yes. And a lot of these guys, especially ones that are a little bit older, like, I mean, Richard Bland, for instance, like, I mean, they're getting pushed right now. And like I said, that, top 24 is going to be really, really interesting. Like, there's just a lot of really world-class players in there. A lot of guys sort of made a little bit of a push at Houston, like, Patrick Reed and David Puig. He got out of the 40s, and I think he's up to 28th now. Patrick Reed was the last couple of events. Patrick Reed has come to play, and now he is 20th when he was in the 40s as well. So, like to see. Look, it's going to be a really big second half of the year for these guys. I'm really curious to see how things play out. It's going to be a huge push. Like, a lot of these guys know they need a couple really good finishes to sort of lock up their standings next year, because again, with everything going on in the professional golf world, I think it's going to open up more spots. So you 100% want to make sure you have your position for next year locked down.
Right, 2 players that have actually really shown a little bit of grit and determination, and great to see is Lee Westwood, finishing 18th. Great to see Lee in the points. It's the first time he's got some this season, and while it hasn't catapulted him too high, it's certainly a positive step. If Lee can now put together 3 or 4 more top 20 positions, he's going to shoot up the leaderboard. I'll guess get 3 or 4. He'll end up being in the top 30 32 to 38. And then obviously John Catlin in his first event got a 24th. What an amazing achievement for John, who's been at times a bit of a journeyman in by his own admission. And last year, before he won the event on the International Series, John had been struggling, and now he's turned it around, and he's got a place on LIV as a step in for the injured Charles Howell, and took his opportunity, finished top 24. And then the other person I want to talk about quickly is Kieran Vincent. Kieran Vincent let's look at Kieran's start of the season: 38, 45, 31, 54, 24, 50. And then he's followed that with a 22 and another 24. So he's slowly but surely really improved those finishes. He's got a lot of work to do. If he trends well and can make sure he's not in the drop zone, as in the automatic relegation, I would imagine if he continues to trend well, John will probably want to keep him on Legion 13 because obviously he fits well in the team. And if you're trending well and you can get, you got 3 more or 4 more top 20 performances, ended up in the top 32 to 44.
Yeah,
that trend might be enough to keep his place and for John to want to retain him.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, I mean, it's going to be, look, he's going to have better finishes than 22nd and 24th. Though he's going to have a couple top 10s to sort of get out of the spot. Because, like, there's the guys in the relegation zone, like, I expect them to play better the second half of the year. Like, Brendan Grace is 50th. Like, that's a shock. Look, he hasn't been that healthy.
I mean, there are questions about Brandon Grace's physical fitness. Is it? Forget. Is it Charles or Brandon Grace's wife that's very ill?
Charles.
So there's questions about Brandon Grace's physical fitness. And obviously, Charles, bless him, he's got issues with, I believe his wife's got cancer. Hopefully, not speaking out of turn there. So obviously, he's got that on his mind as well. So it's obvious that there's plenty going on for these players. Yeah,
for sure. And Stinger GC have heard rumors that there's someone potentially waiting in the wings who may have turned pro recently that would be a great get for LIV. Like, again, we'll have to see. I don't think anything's going to happen this year. I think this is more for next year. But look, if there's any South African that happens to be in the relegation zone, there's probably somebody waiting in the wings. So, and I've also heard rumors about there potentially being a South African event next year. So, again, we'll have to see. Yeah.
Well, look, we've covered a lot, and we're trying to keep this show to 40 minutes. Should we let the viewers into a little bit of an idea about what they can expect from us to come? So, look, I'll be very honest. I have been so busy with work. Jay, you were busy with work a few months ago, and it was difficult for you to find time to record, but we did. And now I've been very busy with work, and it's just been, this isn't our job, guys. We just love doing it. But what we're going to go to, we kind of call this our politics podcast. So we're going to kind of go to 2 golf politics podcasts a month, which will be on YouTube and will be on the podcast. And then also have 2 view and preview shows a month, which will probably go on YouTube and might go on the podcast, depending on time and quality. We can also aim to bring you a couple of interviews a month. We've got a few lined up that we've already done in the can to record, that have been recorded. And also we're going to be looking at doing a course preview for when we go to new courses. That'll be a YouTube only show, hopefully joined by one of our guests. We won't reveal now. And they're going to do a 10-minute on the course, things to look out for, talking about the grass types, talking about greens, talking about fairways and rough. And that will be maybe 10 to 14 of those a year. We're not going to preview Augusta. We all know Augusta, but when we go to different major venues, we'll have that, and we go to new LIV venues. We'll do that. So hopefully that gives you an insight on what we're doing, what we're going to produce, and what we're going to bring out to you. Jay, more importantly, you got a passport, haven't you, my friend?
I did. It just arrived recently. There we go.
Excellent.
So yeah, we've got some things going on here, and a little birdie told me that with everything going on, there's a pretty strong chance that Golf Lovers United's probably going to be credentialed for a couple of majors in the next couple of years. So
who knows how that's going to work out? But if it does, your boys will be at different majors. Oh
yeah, that would be sick. So look, everybody knows that I'm originally from New York. I'd love to go to, the Ryder Cup next year. I'd love to go to the US Open in Shinnecock in a couple of years. Like, that's probably the one that I have circled more than any. It's one of my favorite courses in the world. It's my home. So, Bethpage is, a course that I literally grew up on. So, yeah, again, look, there's a lot of good stuff happening here, a lot of good stuff to come. And the next couple years, going to be a really, really exciting time. So strap in, like I said.
Everybody, thank you. Strap in indeed. Thank you for putting up with my horrific cough and husky voice. But let me know, Phil's been sending you goodies, right?
I got to shout out For Wellness. These gummies have changed my life. I've got some of those. I've got these superfood Focus Bites. Great snack for the course. Shout out to For Wellness. Out of the Phil Mickelson. Haven't talked about Phil at all. I do not want to jinx him at Pinehurst.
No, we get.
But everybody knows who I'm rooting for.
I want to talk about him, but I'm not going to. I'm not putting the jinx on
exactly.
it.
Exactly.
I'm not putting a jinx
Shout
on
out to For Wellness, though. You guys are doing some.
But let's just say, if driving accuracy isn't that important, and your ability to get up and down is. Right, I gotta go. We can't stay out late. Right, ladies and gentlemen, take care. Thank you so much. Enjoy the show. You know what's coming from us. In June and July, it's going to start ramping up to where we want it to be. You're going to get 2 of these a month, not more than that, unless there's an emergency podcast and we'll jump on. It's going to be 2 of these a month. A couple of review and preview shows, depending on LIV schedule and majors. We'll probably review and preview 1 or 2 of the PGA Tour events, just because there are a couple of big ones that I really like. A couple of them. Jay might not join me for that. I might have to do it on my own.
No. Look, we're moving into a great part of the schedule here, in terms of global golf specifically. So real exciting time. Summertime in the UK and Europe is one of the best times for golf. So yeah, really, really, really excited about it.
All right, take care, everybody. Stay safe.